So, as promised, finally I'm gonna do a tasting video of all my beers I've got done so far. Currently in the middle of a brew, doing a Damson Porter, but that video will be up when that's finished. But while that's mashing, I just thought I'd get a start on tasting some of these while I wait, because why the heck not? I've got all the labels done for them, done by my best friend Caius. He's really talented. We kind of work together. I give him a brief of what I want and he works his magic and does these insane designs. So first off, I'm gonna be tasting the Weissbier. So this is the label that we've got here. So this one's called Demeter. Demeter is goddess of the grain, goddess of the harvest. You see she's holding her sheaf of wheat, obviously very fitting with a Weissbier. So this one is 6.3%, and let's get tasting. Before opening this, I already know this is overcarbed. I don't have an actual Weissbier glass. This is the closest thing I've got, so no complaints please. And this is definitely gonna foam, so I've got to be really quick. There we go. Yeah, so immediately she's overcarbed, very excitable. There we go. See, the head retention on this again is not great at all. Yeah, it kind of just runs flat. I think that's just due to overcarb, but you can't really see, but it is bubbling up quite a lot. It's just really bad head retention. I'm quite happy with the colour on this, really nice golden colour, hazy. But yeah, I think it's really beautiful. That's kind of what I was going for with the hazy, but I think it's a really beautiful golden colour. Aroma's definitely getting banana, a little bit of clove. Quite fresh. But flavour-wise, banana comes through a hell of a lot. Tiny bit of bubble gum in there, just a little bit. It's quite full-bodied, quite a smooth mouthfeel, a little bit creamy almost. I mean, overall, I am pretty happy with this. Just would have been a lot happier with it had there been head retention. It would have, like, visually would have looked a lot better, but flavour-wise, yeah, I think, well, this is just me being harsh on myself. I think this is the one I'm least happy with out of all of them. But having said that, like, it's still got great flavour. It's just sad that if you're unaware of it being overcarbonated, you could potentially lose half the bottle, which is a bit of a ball ache, but what can you do? There's a little bit of citrus coming through as well. Just a tiny bit, like a little sharpness coming through ever so slightly, but it is really, really fruity, banana-y, nice bit of clove, just a standard. And that would be my porter that has finished mash, so I'll be right back. It honestly just looks like a glass of tropical juice right now, due to the lack of head retention, which is annoying because, you know, wheat beers are known for their amazing creamy head, but yeah, I could be wrong, and please anybody let me know if there's anything else that might have been the reason behind it, because I know, like, wheat malt is a natural head booster. I do think it's just due to, ironically, overcarbonation, because it's definitely got carbonation, but yeah, c'est la vie. Yeah, this was my third ever brew. I'd say third brew in. Not too bad. It was a very simple grain bill. I'll put all the links to all these different brews in the bottom if you want to go and check out the brew and then come and watch the tasting. Up to you guys. I'm gonna do one and then wait a bit because I am gonna drink them all. I'm not gonna waste it, so I'll drink this I'm like in between brewing and tasting other brews. It's a fun day. Yeah. Sweet. Cheers. So next on the tasting, we're gonna do my peach kettle sour. So the label on this one that Kai's also designed was inspired by the moon tarot card. I might insert a picture here. The moon tarot card kind of has like the moon and the sun on it, and yeah, you'll see it. But there's the take that we've done on this, because we both live in London. He's done the like background. There's like London, and then instead of doing the wolf and the dog, he's done a fox, which obviously you get a lot of those in London. And the dog here is actually a redo of That's My Dog there. And then obviously he's made the sun into a peach. Just bright, lively colours, which I think reflects this brew quite well. This one is 8.2%. Uses only peaches to flavour it. There was no hops in this. And I didn't use any peach puree or artificial flavouring. It was all peach. Yeah. Nice fizz. I'm using my lovely Teku glass from Two Tribes as well. Oh, I love the colour on this so much. This one has way better head retention. It's got a beautiful colour to it. Not as hazy as the Weissbier, but it has got a slight haze to it, which I quite like in a sour. Nice amount of carbonation. Aroma, definite peach coming through there. A lot of tartness. Sours are definitely my favourite style. That and saisons. Anything that's like tart and a bit of like a weird crossover. Oh, I'm sad it's not summer anymore. Although I could drink sours all year round. But this is so refreshing. And I actually haven't had one of these in a while. When did I bottled this on the 28th of May. And the sourness has just improved, I think. Like it's always been quite tart, but I think it has just got a little bit more peachy, a little bit more sour, because obviously some of the sugars from the peach would like take away a little bit from the souring, but I think it's come to a nice balance now that it's been in the bottle for a while. And also, to say this is 8.2 is pretty dangerous, because it just tastes like yummy sour peach juice. The peach is quite subtle in there, but I quite like that. A lot of the sours, you know, like I'll buy, they're really like heavily fruited, but I think it's quite nice as well because you can still appreciate the grains. It's not pure like just juice. You can appreciate the grain, you can appreciate the sourness, and then it's just like rounded off with a nice peachiness. You know what I mean? With all of my brews so far, I think I like to keep everything as natural as possible. That's kind of what I'm about. Like I don't want to use any like, and nothing against anybody that does, of course, but for me personally, like I don't want to be using like the extracts and blah blah blah. Like obviously like the purees and stuff sound, but for this the peaches, I peeled them, destoned them, chopped them up, pasteurized them, or like just boiled them, and then like froze them and thawed them out, just to break them down a bit, which worked really well because then they went really nicely into the beer. The only annoying thing that I find about this one is that I decided not to put the peach in a like a muslin bag when I put them into secondary, just because I thought it would be better, like peach would get better distribution like throughout the beer, which it did. However, because I'd done the process of freezing and thawing and freezing and thawing, it was like it was kind of like a puree kind of thing. So then when I was siphoning it into my bottling bucket, I got bits of peach going through. So then I had quite a lot of waste that I didn't put into bottles because I didn't want loads of like peach bits going in. So yeah, I didn't get as many bottles of this as I would have liked, but as I say before, everything's a learning curve. Yeah, it's super light bodied, super easy drinking. I would probably say too easy drinking, because you could easily, especially on a hot day, sink a couple of these, no thought, but at 8.2%, you know what's gonna happen there. It's a dangerous one, but it sure as hell is tasty. I'm super duper proud of this. Right, so my brew is cooling now, so time for the next one. So now we're going to be trying the Mosaic Pale one of my most recent ones. This is called Bourbon Mosaic. This was made during autumn equinox, so obviously the label ties in with it being brewed in autumn equinox. We've got a very autumnal, like burnt orange colour as the background. We've got there's a tree woman, and then like the scales either side, which in autumn equinox represent the balance between night and day, light and dark. But yeah, I talk about it in a bit more depth in my brew video for this, so go and check that out. Lovely carbonation on there. As you'll know from if you've watched my brewing video on this was like a massive kind of winging it. I used up all like the leftover grains from all my summer brews, leftover hops. So I wasn't entirely sure how it was going to come out, but it's Mosaic IPA. I did not pour that very well. Again with this one, colour's quite nice, a little tiny bit dark, maybe for an IPA, well, on the darker side, but that's absolutely fine. So the hops in this are obviously Mosaic and a little bit of Amarillo. The Amarillo just went in with a bit of Mosaic for bittering, and then a whole ton of Mosaic for dry hopping. And I just used the Amarillo up just because I had a little bit left and it would go with what I was doing. So this has got like a huge like tropical aroma. Like a little bit like stone fruit, a little bit of mango, like a touch of passion fruit, quite tropically, quite fruity. It's really lovely and bitter. And personally, I love a really, really bitter IPA. Yeah, this is on the higher end of like bitterness for IPAs, I'd say. This one is 5.7%. Super easy drinking, nice and hazy. I didn't use any filtering or finings in this. You know, it's just quite a decent, easy drinking Mosaic. And as I said, not too strong, 5.7, 5.8%. I like it. It's funny though, because I'm usually quite critical of anything I do or anything I make, but I am proud of all of these. Obviously there's things I know that I need to work on, but as a whole, like I'm really proud of all of these. Like I had a bit of knowledge before, but a lot of it's just kind of trial and error and me just experimenting. But yeah, as an overall with the Bourbon Mosaic, I'm totally happy with it. I love a Mosaic IPA. But yeah, this one's great. Cheers. So now we come on to the fourth and final one for the time being. Obviously, I've got my Kolsch that's still conditioning, and then my porter is literally cooling, so you'll see that when it's done. So we have got, this is my second ever brew, and this is up there with the peach kettle sour. The peach kettle sour and this one are my two favorites ever. And also so proud of this one because this is my second ever brew. And this is called the Major Oak. It's an oak aged bourbon stout, and the label is inspired by the Major Oak, which is a tree in Sherwood in Nottingham, which is where me and Caius are both originally from. And this is like a really famous tree in like Nottinghamshire, and legend has it that that's where Robin Hood and his merry men live. Yeah, it's the most beautiful tree, and this was the first ever design that Caius did for my beers. And this is his illustration of the Major Oak. As you can see, it's got my logo in there, and we love this design. So simplistic, but so effective. It's quite like personal to us because it's from our hometown. Oh, I didn't put when this was bottled, but yeah, this was the second beer over brewed. This was beginning of this year, maybe like February, March time. But as you can imagine, this could only get better. I'm so excited. I haven't had this in months. So it's literally like black in colour. You can't see through it. Yeah, use a lot of dark grains in this. Pale chocolate malt, chocolate wheat, and like caramel crystal malt. Aroma, you can definitely get the bourbon from that. Like the sweetness, I use Woodford Reserve. There's a really nice malty, like roasty aroma coming through. The reason I'm so pleased with this one is because there's quite a large like depth of flavor. You get the chocolate, you get the coffee, you get the toast, you get the bourbon, and you get a touch of the oak. No, you know what, the oak comes through just the right amount because you get that earthiness from it. And obviously with soaking the oak chips in the bourbon for a few days, like that has like come together, and then soaking that in there, the sweetness has come through. You can definitely taste that there's bourbon in there, and then there's that bitterness which almost feels like the burn after you drink whiskey, but it's not overpowering in any sense. This is 6.3%, which surprises a lot of people because it has that whiskey taste to it. So people assume it's gonna be, you know, up there with like the 9% stout, even though it has all these like chocolate, coffee, whiskey, oak, earthy, sweet, bitter flavors. It's very, very smooth. Mouthfeel is a little bit creamy, kind of medium bodied. With me, I do love a dark beer, I love a stout, but sometimes I get some that are too, personally for me, too vanilla forward. I don't like them too sickly, and then if it's full bodied and really sweet like that, isn't my favourite. It gets a little bit too much for me, a little bit too sickly, but I love whiskey and coffee, and it's just kind of, yeah, this was a great idea to do all the beers in one sitting. All in all though, the best way to describe this, it combines like a dark, rich maltiness with a woody aroma and a sweet bourbon finish, and that is exactly what I was going for, even though I probably didn't really know what I was going for, being it my second ever brew. But yeah, thank you so much for coming to my first ever tasting video. I will try my hardest not to leave it as long until the next one. I'd rather do like short snappy ones or like at the end of other videos. I'll see how it works, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I most certainly have. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much again, guys. You're so great. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Just be nice, because I don't like it when people aren't nice. And I'm trying my hardest. So, but any constructive criticism or constructive feedback or nice feedback or anything is completely welcome. So please do that. And also, just go drink beer because it's fucking great. Love you all.